If you pop the cowling of a 2026 Outboard, what greets you is not an engine, but a wall of plastic. Try to remove that plastic, and you walk into a financial nightmare built from proprietary diagnostic systems, sealed computer modules, and components that are legally locked shut by software you are not allowed to touch. The driveway mechanic is being killed off, and the death is not accidental. It is the result of a coordinated strategy to turn every boat owner into a lifelong tenant of the machine they supposedly bought. Manufacturers have sealed the cowling, locked the software, and positioned themselves to charge you $150 an hour just for the privilege of fixing your own property. In this investigation, we are going to expose how they did it, why they did it, and the only two options you have left if you want to avoid becoming a tenant in your own boat. In the old days, when a fuel pump failed, you drove to a marine supply store, paid $75, and bolted in a replacement by yourself. The part was simple copper, plastic, and rubber. The owner's manual showed you the diagram. The part was universal across engine families, and any marine mechanic in the country could install it in an afternoon. Today, if you buy a replacement ECU for your Yamaha or Mercury and try to plug it in, the engine will refuse to start. Manufacturers have tied the computer to a specific engine serial number. So when you install a new part, the main system scans it and rejects anything that does not match its factory registration. The hardware is perfect. The installation is correct. The software simply refuses to let it work. To unlock the engine, you have to trailer the boat to a dealership, pay for 1 hour of labor, and wait while a technician plugs in a proprietary laptop and tells your outboard that the new ECU is authorized to exist. The wrench has been digitized, and the password lives at the dealer. This is not a safety system. It is a deliberate move to kill the used parts market and force you to buy new overpriced components from the dealer network. An identical ECU pulled from another engine in another shop cannot be programmed to match your serial number without the manufacturer's blessing, even though the hardware is physically the same. Before they lock the software, they lock the hardware. Manufacturers call it modern design, but on a modern outboard, simple maintenance has become a geometric impossibility. Take the fuel filter. On a 1992 Yamaha 2-stroke, replacing it took 60 seconds and a wrench. On a modern 4-stroke, that same filter is buried beneath wiring harnesses, hoses, and plastic shrouds that require lower cowling removal just to reach. Some outboards have cowlings so complex that the service manual is the only way to get them off correctly, because hidden fasteners and sequence latches will break if you force them in the wrong order. A replacement cowling for a larger outboard can exceed $1,000, which means a minor mistake during routine maintenance turns into a major repair bill. The real offender is powerhead access. Modern outboards pack the engine so tightly inside the cowling that common maintenance tasks now demand special tools, engine stands, and hours of labor that used to take minutes. A thermostat replacement that was a 20-minute job on a 1990 engine can become a half-day operation because components must be removed in a specific order to reach anything. Valve cover gaskets, spark plug servicing, water pump work, all of it takes 3 to 5 times longer on a modern engine than it did on a carbureted one. Manufacturers claim this is about weight reduction and hydrodynamic efficiency, but the effect is to make the engine bay look so intimidating that owners give up and hand over their credit cards without trying. Even after you fight through the cowling, the sensors are waiting for you. Modern outboards run dozens of them, feeding data into the ECU: temperature, oxygen, throttle position, manifold pressure, oil level, trim angle, and if any one of them reads outside an expected range, the engine enters what mechanics call limp mode or guardian mode. The RPM caps. The throttle stops responding. Sometimes the engine shuts down entirely. Nothing has actually broken. The machine has simply decided, based on one data point from a $5 sensor, that you are no longer allowed to use full power. Getting out of limp mode often means taking the boat to a dealer so someone can plug in a proprietary scanner, clear the fault code, and charge you $150 an hour for the privilege. The repair itself might require $30 in parts, but the diagnostic access to that repair costs you $200 more. A reset button that should take 3 seconds has been turned into a toll booth. To understand where this playbook came from, you have to look at patient zero, John Deere. Farmers were the first victims of the modern lockout model. They spent $500,000 on a tractor, but when a $50 sensor failed during harvest, the machine would brick itself. The farmer could physically replace the sensor in 10 minutes with a wrench, yet the software would refuse to recognize the new part until a Deere dealer drove out to the farm and authorized it with a laptop. Farmers lost thousands of dollars per hour waiting for permission to use property they had bought outright. The scandal sparked the modern right-to-repair movement, triggered state lawsuits and FTC investigations, and eventually forced Deere into agreements promising independent repair access, though compliance remains disputed to this day. The marine industry watched all of this and copied it immediately. When your outboard enters limp mode today, it is not because something broke. It is because the manufacturer has decided you need to visit the service center. The business model has shifted from selling you an engine to selling you access to it, month after month, year after year. Nothing illustrates this more clearly than the marine chart economy. Navionics charges around $100 per year to keep your chart plotter updated. Ray Marine sells Lighthouse Charts Premium as a yearly subscription. Garmin pushes Navionics Plus on an annual renewal. The chart data is largely derived from public surveys funded by taxpayers through NOAA and similar agencies. You already paid $20,000 for the plotter and another several hundred for the initial chart card, but if you want this year's hazards, sandbars, and channel markers, you pay again, indefinitely. The plotter still works if you stop paying, but the charts go stale, and stale charts can steer you into a rock. You own the hardware, yet the manufacturer has installed a toll booth between you and the information that makes it useful. The diagnostic tools themselves follow the same logic. Yamaha has YDS, Suzuki has SDS, Mercury has MEDS, each is proprietary, each is restricted to authorized channels, and each is priced in a range that prevents independent mechanics from adopting them at scale. A full Mercury diagnostic package runs between $1,500 and $2,600 for one brand, and covering every major manufacturer pushes an independent shop's tooling investment past $10,000 before a single wrench gets turned. Yamaha's YDIS Smart app makes the legal structure explicit. Its terms of use state that the app is permitted only for authorized Yamaha dealers, even though anyone can download it from the Google Play Store. The tool exists, it is publicly available, and manufacturers have used legal language to prevent independent mechanics from using it on engines their customers own. The driveway mechanic is not dead yet, but he is being forced out of business. Marine repair shops across the country report that independent operators are closing because they cannot justify the diagnostic equipment required to service modern outboards. The survivors are either becoming dealer authorized or specializing exclusively in pre-computer engines. Boat owners who refuse to participate in the new system are keeping 20 and 30-year-old engines running at any cost. An underground of experienced mechanics is rebuilding pre-2005 carbureted outboards and selling them to buyers who have decided they want to own a machine rather than lease a subscription. Aftermarket manufacturers continue producing parts for these older engines because demand has refused to die. A 1998 Yamaha OX66 with a fresh rebuild commands higher prices today than it did 5 years ago, and the trend is accelerating. Here is the verdict. If you buy a 2026 outboard, you do not own it. You are the primary user of a data collection and repair dependency device that is legally and functionally owned by the corporation that built it. They control the software, they control the parts, they control the repair, and they control when you are allowed to go boating. If you want to actually own your outboard, you have two choices. First, support right-to-repair legislation in your state and push for marine inclusion because several states have already passed or introduced right-to-repair laws for automobiles and farm equipment, and marine needs to be next. Consumer pressure is the only force manufacturers respond to. Second, buy an older analog outboard, a Yamaha OX66 from the late 1990s, a carbureted Johnson or Evinrude V4 from before Ficht, a Mercury 2-stroke from before Optimax. Buy an outboard where the cowling opens to reveal an engine you can actually see, not a plastic shell concealing components you are not permitted to access. The war on do-it-yourself is real, but the outcome is not decided. They have sealed the cowling, locked the software, and priced out the independent mechanic. What they cannot take away is your ability to choose what you put on your transom. Reject the ransom. Keep the old iron running, and do not let anyone tell you that you are not allowed to fix what you own.